Show money means business, as we always say, in business means money. Stability in business means a lot of money, but recently, in the last couple of years, a lot of variants and different events happened, and of course, lots of things that affect our economy and the economies of the world. That is the COVID-19, and then the Omicron, and so on and so forth. All the variations that are coming out of it, that are, of course, the pandemics that are affecting the world economies that are reeling under these the pandemics. Well, there is a lot to talk about. So, what about tourism? What's the situation all over the world, in Egypt specifically? How is it affecting Egypt tourism, and what's going on in the tourism? What happened last year as a whole? And we have with us here our guest who's going to be talking more and explaining to us what's going on. We have with us Mr. Sameh Saad, former president of Egypt Tourism Company. Welcome, sir, with us. Pleasure having you.
My great pleasure, thank you. It's my great pleasure as well.
Well, we start, but first of all, we go for a short break, and we have a phone call talking about the latest actually in the economy in Egypt, and then we'll come back to our own subject.
Great.
Stay tuned to us. Don't go away. We're coming back in a moment.
President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi inspected a number of multi-use vehicles that run on natural gas and electricity as part of his interest in the transport system using clean energy, in the presence of Lieutenant General Kamel El-Wazir, Minister of Transport, and a number of attendees. The official spokesman for the presidency of the Republic stated that the president listened to a detailed explanation of the capabilities of these vehicles and the areas that could be benefited from them according to the future vision of the state. The president also inspected a model of one of the vehicles designated to work with people of determination, which runs on natural gas. The Board of Directors of the Grand Egyptian Museum Authority at the headquarters of the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities held a meeting that dealt with a number of topics related to the museum, including the latest developments in the museum's work, the executive position of the engineering works, the progress of archaeological work in the museum, and business developments at the King Khufu Boat Museum. For his part, Dr. Tayyib Abbas, Assistant Minister of Tourism and Antiquities for Archaeological Affairs, explained that the volume of achievement in the entrance hall and the great staircase has reached more than 99%, and the finishing of King Tutankhamun's hall has been completed by more than 99%. During the past year, the Egyptian Stock Exchange succeeded in achieving high growth rates in terms of trading volumes and values, in addition to an increase in the number of new investors, in addition to receiving the largest offering since 2005. Capital market analysts confirmed that the market enjoys a lot of incentives and ingredients, on top of which are the government's incentive decisions and its plan to complete the offering program during the current year, in addition to diversifying trading mechanisms and increasing the culture of indirect investment through stocks. The foreign exchange reserves of the Central Bank of Egypt have witnessed a steady increase since the beginning of 2021, reaching $40.934 billion at the end of last December, compared to $40.063 billion at the end of December 2020, which indicates an increase of $871 million during the year. Where the reserve achieved the highest increase in the year during the month of September 2021, rising by $153 million to reach $40.825 billion compared to $40.672 billion at the end of August of the same year. One of the largest shipping companies in the world, considering pumping investment close to $200 million in Egypt to implement a new logistics zone in East Port Said. Informed sources said that it is planned to complete this study during the first quarter of 2022, noting that the company aims to establish logistic areas and customs warehouses for the storage and customs release of containers. In addition to the launch of a land transport company for containers belonging to the line to its customers within the local market in order to achieve the concept of multi-modal transport. The main PMI for Egypt rose last December to its highest level in 4 months, to a record 49 points compared to 48.7 points in November 2021. The index data showed that the Egyptian non-oil producing companies witnessed a decrease in price pressure during the last month of the year, which led to the largest slowdown in the cost of production inputs in more than 3 years, while production prices also rose at a lower level. The Arab Organization for Industrialization announced the installation of the first machine in the Middle East, which is the 8th in the world, to operate and form metals at the Sema factory of the Arab Organization for Industrialization, which is specialized in the railways and aircraft spare parts industries. Last May, Egypt inaugurated the most important agreement in the field of manufacturing with the German international company DMG Mori, in the greatest industrial step in Egypt in the modern era in Egypt.
We're back again to Money Means Business, and we have online Dr. Murad Meher, President of the Egyptian Securities Association. Welcome, sir, with us. Dr. Murad Meher? Mohammed Meher? Yes, Dr. Mohammed? Yes, Dr. Mohammed, the Prime Minister held a meeting with the board members and investors discussing problems facing the stock market. What happened?
Yes, actually, we had a couple of meetings with together with the group of public sector, together with also the secretary and secretary chairman, and it was a couple of processes. The first one was and we're discussing the amendment of capital gain tax law, and we put together a rate to the tax treatment for capital gains for the stock market. And the last meeting was last week, also was just to revise the final amendments to this law, and also to discuss how to encourage more improvement to the stock market, Egyptian stock market, and to give more incentives for investors and attract more international and local investors throughout offering a good part of the program of the government for the public sector offerings.
So what are the challenges facing the stock market and all the decisions that were taken that you discussed during this meeting?
Actually, the tax issue is almost resolved, and only we are waiting now for the law to be amended by the parliament, which is expected within the coming few weeks, and this will relieve a part of the pressure on the stock market. Also, it's very important to have the government program of offering in place, because we are very long time now waiting for a very ambitious program for 40-something companies to be offered by the government and also by the national army companies. All these companies are waiting for, including several sectors, including banks, Bank to Care and United Bank, as well as insurance companies, the largest insurance company, Mr. Insurance, many companies in the logistics for marine logistics and ports. All these companies have been in the program for the last more than 3-4 years ago, and we witnessed only 2 companies which were offered throughout the last year and the year before. Yeah. So now it's very important for the government to start executing the program and to start giving signals for investors, and also to encourage private sector to follow the market, the government move by introducing new IPOs to the market.
Concerning the value-added tax, what is the procedures? What will happen?
It is the capital gain tax. Now we have some very good amendments to the law, including having tax exemption on the opportunity cost. I mean, the capital gain for the investor will be not fully subject to tax. Will deduct first the opportunity cost of almost 10% the portfolio. Then whatever exceeds that will be subject to 10% tax. And also they will consider any accumulated losses throughout the last year, 3 years before the year of calculating the tax, and this to be carried forward. I mean, every year if you have loss, it will be carried for 3 years and to be deducted from the profit before calculating the tax. Also to deduct an opportunity cost equivalent to the central bank discount rate, which is now almost 10-something%, or 9-something%, and this will make a sort of fair treatment to have the investors in the stock market equally treated with the investors in banks deposits. And it's a very good amendment to the law, and we are waiting for the Parliament to approve such amendment.
Yes. Dr. Mohamed Meher, President of the Egyptian Securities Association, thank you very much for being with us. And we're back again to our subject, and that is tourism, with Mr. Sameh Saad, who is the Counselor to the Ministry of Tourism and former President of Egypt Tourism Company. And again, welcome, sir, with us.
My great pleasure.
Well, there is a lot to talk about, actually. I don't know where to start, but then, well, every time we have a boom in tourism, and we're going to talk about definitely how tourism was in last year now, 2021, and we are in 2022, and well, what is supposed to happen? Or is it like we have to look at the crystal ball, since, like we have the Omicron and I don't know what, coming out every time that there is something new?
Let's start saying that in 2015,
yes,
when we had the accident of the Russian plane,
yes,
we got a very bad setback in tourism. Really, we had a decline in number of tourism. Just to explain that we have 76% of our rooms in Egypt in the Red Sea Governorate and South Sinai. Yeah. This is leisure, so they come to enjoy sun and sea. So when we had the real crash of tourism, 2015, 2016, it started to pick up in 2017. But of course, when tourism comes back, first of all, it was a political situation.
Yeah.
President Sisi has done a lot of great efforts, and Egypt has took a very good place among the other countries worldwide, and he has been to China, to Japan, to Europe, to many countries, America. This boosted back the tourism, really. So our real good time and peak of tourism started to go up in 2017 and 18. 19 was a fantastic year for us. It was not only the leisure tourism, but also the classic tourism. The classic tourism here, I'm talking about Cairo, Luxor, Aswan. The income from the classic tourism 5, 6, 7 times more than leisure tourism. Because if a tourist books a very normal tourism program, which he goes to the pyramids, to the museum, and then Luxor and Aswan, the temples, and this antiquities and archaeology places, he pay around $250. So the country gets $250 from each tourism. And then he pay domestic plane, Egypt Air, between Cairo and Luxor and Aswan, another $200 or $220. So the country gets direct from the tourist $500-600 plus the expenses of accommodation, transportation, and so on. So usually the culture tourism generate more revenue and more people are benefiting from it. 2019 was a big boom. We were expecting really to reach good figures in 2020 and 21. We were expecting to get the figures of 2010. You know, in 2010 we made 14.7 million tourists, and this figure was the highest figure we achieved. And so, according to the growth of tourism and according to the political situation of Egypt among the world, Egypt has a very high demand. But unfortunately, February, March, when the COVID hit the whole world, we had to close our hotels for 3 months. The whole world stopped from traveling. So definitely the figures declined. And when they declined, because nobody was able. Italy had a total lockdown for 4 months. Many countries in Europe, South America, and so on. So nobody's traveling. When they found the vaccine, it was like the light at the end of the tunnel. And the government, the Ministry of Tourism and Ministry of Health and the Prime Minister in person, he was concerned. They put new measures, they put rules and regulation, and they were very keen to make sure everything is on the safe side, it's clean and healthy. This brought back Egypt in a position. We were talking before the air that the growth of tourism has a path. You know, we're just certain. We didn't expect that it triples in a short time. Nobody really expected, by all means, because we have our experience. We have seen Egypt has always been having bad times, good times, and predictions. The rising of tourism really went up very high. Starting October, November this year, Luxor hotels were full. Then Omicron came, hitting very bad. We are not bad as 20 or 21, but the whole world is waiting, watching. We don't know what's happening. Special groups and some tour operators, especially for culture tourism, are not confirming. They do not make a new booking. They do not cancel, but they don't confirm because nobody knows.
In limbo. Everybody's in limbo. They don't know what's going on.
Exactly as you say. And now Europe is closing. Yesterday someone told me Spain, you know, you cannot go into a restaurant unless they have to make you a rapid test and so on. So we hope it finishes soon. Then we go back to normal. What I can say in this exactly that after this crisis, Egypt has proven that it has a very good place. And when the world was allowed to travel, you know, let's say this simply, allowed to travel, we got very high demand. And the requests, the hotels were fully booked in Hurghada and Sharm el-Sheikh and Luxor, Aswan. So we hope things could go better.
Well, yeah, hopefully, you know, things will go back to normal, and whoever wants to come, they're welcome, definitely, you know. We're living our lives here, and of course, well, with these, you know, variants that coming out, we hope, you know, that this stops, and we go back to better than how life was before, actually. Things will be different, definitely, and, you know, as you said, the demand will be even greater. But then, you know, we do have, you know, lots of events, you know, been working very hard, even under these strict conditions and very hard conditions, especially in the, you know, the Ministry of Tourism. And of course, you know, the business sector are working very hard and booming, you know, every sector, business sector in the society. Well, the training of the people who are just working in the tourism sector and all that. A lot of work after all these setbacks. Then, of course, we need, you know, the experienced ones and trained ones just went to other businesses, definitely, in order to survive, and then left.
This is the threat we are facing in tourism. We have a lot of threats.
Yeah.
The trained staff, which takes years to train someone, has left. Some left to other countries. Some left completely this job. I mean,
Yeah.
fine, especially the simple jobs, you know, like the housekeeper, the cleaner, the cook, and the waiter. These are essential jobs in tourism. They are very essential. Their lack of experience, you know, when you get a new staff with
Yeah.
lack of experience,
Yeah.
it costs you very much, because they can make mistakes and the client does not allow mistakes, and so on. So this is a big threat. Another threat, we don't have enough buses. This is funny. What we have only a certain number of buses, and usually by the time goes, when an old bus goes out, then the company buys new buses, so we renew our long fleet of buses. I'm talking about the private sector.
Yes.
Tourism. For 2 years, the factories didn't produce. This is one issue. And nobody would invest to buy a new bus, and he has his own expenses of maintaining the staff and all this.
Definitely.
So we have a lot of threats. The government and the central bank has been giving a lot of help and lot of programs with low interest rate for renovation and refurbishing of hotels with certain conditions. Yes, it's very good, but still, if I am an investor, I'm a hotel owner or travel agency owner, sometime I wouldn't go to investment to renovate or to refurbish or to extend when I don't know when this will end.
Exactly.
I have to keep my staff. I mean, the staff has been working with me for many years, so I have to keep
You
them.
can't afford losing them.
I cannot afford losing them. And so I have an expenses, and the problem for us at that time, 20 and 21, you don't know when it will end. It's not like, okay, I mean, like we had always problems and crises. You see, Egypt has a unique place.
Yeah.
Egypt is lucky in tourism. We have 365 days of tourism. You know,
Yeah.
now in Europe, it's 1 meter, 2 meter high of the snow,
yeah.
and bad weather, and still sunny. Maybe if it's cloudy, we feel like, winter is very bad. It's cloudy, you know, it's raining for 1 day. So we are lucky. We really have the whole year tourism.
Actually, when we got snow, we were very happy because
Yeah, we
very
took
like
pictures and things like this. So, yeah, we have tourism year-round, but this politically, some countries are not happy about this.
Yeah, definitely.
So sometimes we get crisis in tourism and some political issues, you know, to slow down tourism. But this time we don't know. Every time we had crisis, we knew, we predicted 3 or 4 months, then we'll go back to normal.
Yes.
Even in Gulf War, we were discussing this issue yesterday with some friends in tourism. In Gulf War, we expected everything, because tourism stopped. I'm talking about 1990. We expected after 4 months, things will come back. Actually,
Yes.
after 5 months, we had overbooking all over Egypt. So, but this time, we don't know.
The whole world is hit
Exactly.
by that, and we don't know. You know, some like have a total lockdown or partial lockdown, and you know we.
In my previous company, I was working in a public sector company for tourism. It's
Yeah.
the biggest in Egypt. I booked buses with China. It was real state-of-art buses with the biggest bus factory in the world. But then we didn't have any time to receive it because the factories were closed.
Yeah. It's like, you know, it's really a nightmare that the world is passing through. It's like you do something one side, and then the other side closes, or you've
Yeah.
got in every point you've got a challenge.
But when I was working in the company, my main issue was to find salaries for the staff.
Definitely.
So we stopped all the developing programs
Yeah.
for the company, and we stopped many issues because, and renovation and refurbishment, because I need to maintain the stuff and keep it. So I hope things will improve soon.
Well, yeah, so, it will, like we're really hopeful, and things, there are ups and downs, and hopefully the ups will surpass the downs that have been hitting.
Or will continue for a longer time, the ups.
Exactly, like a few years, let's say, like maybe a decade or 2 decades, just make up for the downs that were before. Well, actually, one of the good things that happened also last year is the opening, of the Way of the Ram, or the Path of the Rams, and we do have a report concerning that, and we'll just proceed with our subject. Stay tuned to us, don't go away.
The world stopped for hours, watching in amazement the legendary Road of Rams ceremony, which Egypt organized with the utmost ingenuity and proved that the Egyptians are an extension of their ancestors, the great pharaohs, the owners of a civilization of 7,000 years. Egypt is where it all began. Egypt, which taught the world how to establish a state and establish a strong army. Egypt, which taught the world building and construction, architecture, and the arts. Egypt, which taught the world medicine, science, burial, and mummification. Egypt, which taught the world agriculture, production, and industry. Egypt, that is on my mind and in the minds of every Egyptian. Its greatness is once again evident in the hearts, reminding us of our ancient civilization and reminding us of who we were and who we are now. We are the extension of the ancient Egyptian ancestors. We are able to continue our civilization with pride and advancement. Our civilization, which on a historic day, witnessed by the whole world, restored our confidence in ourselves and that we can overcome any difficulties and continue to build. The state of pride that every Egyptian felt today needed social media, and the Egyptians came out in a state of awakening and pride, expressing their pride in their Egyptianness and their praise of the sophistication with which the Ram's Path celebration came out. This was not just a passing scene, but rather a scene that created a state of gratitude and a desire for sophistication to replace ugliness and lowly songs. The Egyptians' praise of parades, music, and singing in the ancient Egyptian dialect is a sign of the taste of this people and their desire for the solitude of musical melodies and their taste for quality and the good organization that made every Egyptian proud and feel that this is what he seeks and desires. Yes, the citizen desires efficiency and order in everything. Today, we were proudly watching the ceremony, and I am confident that each of us says to himself that this is me. I am Egyptian, I am history. I am the Egyptian person who taught the world professionalism in directing any work and accuracy in accomplishing any task. The ceremony of the Path of Rams resurrected the spirit in our bodies. Our bodies, which may have forgotten that we are the pharaohs who are able to succeed and export this brilliant success to the world to know who we are. An important message that Egypt is sending today to the world is that whatever Egypt does, it will do it to the fullest. Egypt is the dawn of conscience.
كتير من الناس بعد ما تقضي حياتها كلها في ضغوط عمل وحسابات وتعقيدات وتعاملات إنسانية قد تكون صعبة بيبحثوا دايما على العيشة في مكان هادئ آمن مع ناس طيبة بسيطة محبة للحياة وسط حضارة ثرية وسط طبيعة خلابة وسط شمس زي اللي احنا موجودين فيها في الشتاء بعيد عن الجو البرد القارس في دول أخرى. ربنا ادانا نعمة كبيرة قوي، ادانا شواطئ، ادانا شمس، ادانا جو حلو، ادانا ناس طيبة، واجدادنا سابوا لنا حضارة تميزنا عن اي دولة تانية في العالم. بلدنا جميلة جدا، بلدنا آمنة جدا، بلدنا فيها كل حاجة، وأهم حاجة المصريين الطيبين اللي فاتحين دراعتهم لكل ضيوفنا من كل دول العالم.
We're back again to Money Means Business, and still we're talking about tourism, what's happening in tourism, visiting Egypt. As I always say, visitors, everything is there. You can find anything you want. Well, as we've seen, the Path of the Rams and inaugurating it. Before that, the Golden Mummy and the most wonderful area where the museum lies there.
You know, the Egyptian Civilization Museum was a project since 2010, 2005, was a long time ago there. And when they said it will open, nobody really from the tourism business said we can include it in our programs because the program already is compact. The parade, what happened, and the big show about this, it made it on request.
Yes.
So the tourist, the travel agency abroad request to see the museum. So personally, this parade made a big propaganda for the museum to see it. So you can see different things. I mean,
Yes.
Egypt is rich and the museum is very simple and modern and telling many nice stories. And this event was a plus to us. I mean, when we reach a situation that the hotels are fully booked and we are the peak and you don't find enough space on the planes and so on, it didn't come overnight. It's many things happened together which made the people requesting Egypt as a first request in their travel bucket when they say this.
Definitely.
And we always lucky. The distance is not far. It's 4 hours from Europe. So with the corona, nobody wants to sit on a mask for 8 hours in the plane.
Definitely.
Nobody wants to come and then get complications.
Definitely.
It is it's very easy.
Yeah.
And the having facilities in the airport for who doesn't have the PCR test, we can make the test for him on a very reasonable price. Here it's costs $30 if someone wants to make the PCR for in the airport.
Yes.
Abroad, it costs $200.
That's too much.
It's a lot of money.
Of course.
So all this made life easy for tourists to come to Egypt.
Yes.
Plus the museum, plus the parade.
Plus the freedom, they feel when they come here, actually.
Exactly. We get to know now, we get used according to the statistic for what happened in the summer. The percentage was very low. In winter, it goes up, as you see the statistics now.
Yeah.
So we can say now to ourselves, people working in tourism, let's assume that the year in Egypt is not only 12 months, it's only 8 months. 4 months will be problems in winter. Since this pandemics now, we have Omicron and then we have Delta before, and every time we have something new. Okay, so let's survive the summer. We'll have less problems. So let's gain and work in summer. And let's consider in winter it might have problems, so it stops. So if we know this, then we can plan.
Yes.
We will survive.
Definitely. But now we don't know what's happening with all the those the pandemic and those variants that are coming out like devils coming out to us. But then tourism, for example, during the opening of the Path of the Rams, there was no single place in Luxor to be booked, and everything was fully booked. What about, let's say, Egyptians, traveling here and there, well, we do get still, some, as long as some people can travel, they can come, but with the new variants, we don't know, as you said, what will happen, so everybody is just waiting. But what about Egyptians, traveling?
One plus for the I mean, Corona is negative in many things, but we try to find pluses. Let's find the half full part of the cup, not only the empty part of the glass. One plus that Egyptians start to travel in Egypt because Those who like to travel, it's easy to travel to Europe.
Yeah.
When it was the lockdown, everybody started looking where to go in Egypt. And Egypt is full, I mean, it's full of nice places, full of many places you can go and see. So actually it gave a good chance to Egypt. Like last summer, I was chairman of a company and we own hotels in Luxor. Last year, we had only Egyptians staying in the hotels, and you go to the temples,
Yeah.
only Egyptians, and the percentage was much higher than other years.
Yes.
So the plus is Egyptians start to move around and see many places. The majority of nationalities now visiting the new civilization museum are Egyptians.
Definitely.
So this is a plus.
But this is, you know, this is the trend, and tourism going more, you know, for tourism. I mean, Egyptians going more for tourism in Egypt, going to museums. That was not that much before, but then there is like the sense of belonging more after, you know, the 2011 and 2012, all that. There is more sense of dignity, happiness that you're Egyptian. You really want more to delve into your own history, to go to the different places in your country, to know your country more, and you're proud of it.
Let me tell you that there is a trend was not available before, now it's there. I know some groups on Facebook with a specialized guide
Yeah.
on fixed departure times. They go out in Shara al-Mu'izz and the guide is going explaining the whole things. You can see his videos on YouTube and Facebook. The guy is very popular and he goes, it's not that he talk and say, oh, this stone was 5,000 years only. Yeah, okay. But then he tells you stories around it. And the funny thing is that in his group departures, every time he has 30 or 40 people. Definitely they are all Egyptians. Yeah. And this was not before happening. This means that a lot of people are interested to know their history in Islamic Cairo, in Khan Khalili, Shara al-Mu'izz, and all this area. So this trend, I think, again, the social media, the positive side of the social media made people more interested and more interested to see. There is an Egyptian blogger, a young lady, she's full of knowledge. When she put anything, when she talk about stone, when she go anywhere, in short time she had 1 and 2 million viewers watching her, you know.
Yeah.
Because everybody is interested now to know history and many things. So this is a plus.
Well, you know, talking about social media is very important. Like when we have, as you said, a blogger talking about it, other, you know, like non-Egyptian bloggers that come in and talk, let's say they talk reasonably and they talk, they're fair, they tell the truth, then attracts more people because, you know, some other people like to say, you know, like bad things, you know, but you know, on purpose or not on purpose, some people are like that. But then when you're just saying the truth and you're just going to different places and talking and putting places, even if you have like, you know, on Instagram or other social media hubs, you're just, you know, putting yourself, you know, you go into Luxor or Aswan or some event that took place and you took in some pictures and put them there because you're very happy with the events that are taking place and you're very proud of it. That attracts, you know, other people looking into it. How much of that is a plus, you know, to the tourism?
By going through statistics, Turkey had a certain number of tourism. When they made this nice serials and movies, Turkey and everybody was watching in the Arab world, the numbers were tripled and quadrupled in very short years. Yeah. I had statistics at that time because people saw the nice place and everybody wanted to see it, and everybody thought that this actor, famous guy, Muhannad, he was walking here, he was going there. And at that time, it was a television serial. Now, it's much easier through social media. I would go to somewhere and I take my picture, post it, and I have a friend, and it's a funny information. Definitely, they will share it. As I said now, one of the bloggers, when she put her things, she was in Luxor last winter, when she spoke about hotel, and she said, here stayed Princess Diana, and here on the Nile, and this and this. She had 1.5 million viewers in very short time. So this is the power of the social media,
Yeah.
and I'm sure when we make when we want to attract people and show new destination, will be through the bloggers for a long time from now.
Definitely. Well, this is one side, you know, the people who are fair and say the truth. Or, you know, other people like us, you know, people, you know, we're just posting our things or our work, or, and then you have, you know, like followers, and then you post, you know, when you go to a certain place, you go to a certain place and, you know, you take pictures, and then people ask you, where is that place? And you tell them.
Yeah,
This
exactly,
is,
exactly. This
the
is the power of social media again.
definitely. But there are other people who try to smear the reputation of the country on purpose somehow.
It is, and we see a lot of negative sometime reports and things. Yes, he's talking facts, but I think again,
Well, they're talking facts,
We
and
had
sometimes
the-
you know, you put the poison into you know,
Yes,
something
yes,
that's not
yes.
that with the way you portray it.
but
you know?
it doesn't work much. Definitely, everybody wants to know about something bad. People are enjoying it, but it doesn't, because if those people had an effect, we wouldn't have this high increase in numbers in the past period. So they don't have high effect. The good thing is that sometimes they show us some defects, so the authorities take care to correct and take proper measures to put things in order,
Yeah,
which is good.
yeah, definitely. No, you know, we say the empty cup, or let's say, you know, the half
Yeah,
full.
exactly. How
But
do you
then
want to
the
see
cup
it?
is refillable, so you know
Yeah,
it can be. You know, this is something. Now you know, with all you know, like the time that we have, that you know, even that we are not very sure. The world is not sure what will happen in the few next months. What is expected to happen? But then, what are we preparing in this period?
So let's say that the event of Luxor, this road between the two temples, Karnak and Luxor temple, when it took place, really, it had a lot of pluses. Of course, worldwide, people knew about it.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of requests. People are interested to see it. So this put Luxor and put the culture tourism again on the map. Really, you know, I mean, the culture tourism suffered a lot.
Yeah.
And so this put it back to the map, to the road. As we say now, the good thing is Omicron is not, it's not a virus who stays long time, it stays short time. So we know now that winter is not easy, but definitely, hopefully, when the weather gets better in April, it will improve. So, of course, we want to have tourism, we want to have numbers and everything, but as a businessman, when I plan, I predict maybe if I lose, I will lose for 2 or 3 months, and then it will come back later.
But also the pressure, you know, on the people working in, and they say, you know, the owners of hotels, the people, you know, the entrepreneurs in this sector of tourism is very hard for them, especially that there are other responsibilities, talking about adding securities, adding health experts being there in order to supervise the health, you know, and you know, to prevent any kind of like, you know, pandemics to reach the visitors, or you know, on and off.
It's very complicated, to be honest.
Very expensive.
And it has very high cost. And then you have to maintain your staff. And when tourism starts in other countries like Dubai and Georgia and those, they find opportunity, so they threat of leaving. It's very bad. It's very complicated situation,
Definitely.
really.
And you know, not only the culture tourism, you know, like that came to my mind. Places I love myself, you know, and I started traveling with work and without, you know, that school and on my own, or you know, Aswan and Luxor. Aswan is a dream. Taba is a dream.
Simple.
St. Catherine is a dream. It's a holy place, and you know, the time you see there. I remember when I worked, you know, for a certain international organization. And one of the big bosses, American, said, you know, you have to come with us to St. Catherine. We go and see the sunrise, you know. What would I do? I want to sleep in my bed, you know, going to see the sunrise. I see it every day. Who cares? I thought so. It's like, you know, these people are crazy, going for a couple of days to see the sunrise. That happened that I went there, and I went on top of the mountain of St. Catherine Mountain to see, well, the sunrise. That was a wow. Everybody was like, wow, you know, something's breathtaking. It's like not any sunrise.
This is a holy place, you know. When you think, when you are on top of the mountain, that Prophet Moses was there and think like this. This is a unique. It's a unique experience. It's a unique feeling, you know. It's not that you go. It's not like in Europe you see nice mountain. Yes, I have seen so many really mountains in Europe and snow, and I have been on top of those mountains. But the thing is this, that when the guide tells you, the Bedouin guide tells you that Prophet Moses was here and his brother was there and he was climbing up the mountain, it's different. It's another feeling, really.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. This is, you know, like culture, not culture, this is religious tourism. And I know that St. Catherine, as an Egyptian saint, well, Russians, you know, specifically the Orthodox, come and celebrate, you know, February, I think, or January, actually, you know, her day, and it's so crowded there, coming and celebrating there, and the relics come out intact. They are.
This is an Egyptian culture. It's us. It's not, you know, I mean, like the Holy Family trip is a culture trip. I consider it as a culture trip. I made this trip, the Holy Family trip.
Yes.
I made it because we are full of history, and every spot we have, there is something happened, and we don't see it less than culture and knowledge and things like this.
Definitely. Unfortunately, you came to the end of this episode. I want to talk more about that, especially, you know, the burning bush. That I say every time an American told me, burning bush, was it burned? I said, no, it was not burned. It's in there, in the monastery, and it's big, and you can see it in there. So, you know, you're walking in the history, you know, it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. When you hear the burning bush and it came in Quran and this tree is here.
Definitely, and the true, you know, like when you see in the Bible and the Quran, you know, so it's like, this is, you know, amazing. And the same verse is in the Bible, you know, all the religions, you know, like 3 religions believe in that. It's amazing. So it's an open invitation. COVID-19 or no COVID-19, we're
Just
safe
come.
here.
Have nice air.
Yes, you'll have the time of your life.
Open air.
Mr. Sanasat, thank you very much for being with us.
My great
Pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, good times fly.
Oh, yes,
So
yes.
we have to leave right now. Before leaving, as I always say, God bless Egypt, God bless Egyptians, God bless our army, our white army, our police, and our president, and God bless Egyptians. And as I quote from the Holy Quran, ادخلوا بس إن شاء الله آمنين, and to Egypt, God willing, safe. And from the Holy Bible, Mubarak, Shabi Misr, bless the Egypt, my people. I'm Nabi Nazim signing off. We'll see you again next week. Goodbye for now.